Yo, what's going on, boys? How you guys doing today? Welcome back to another YouTube video. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at our returning Iron Banner weapon. Today, we're taking a look at the Crimils Dagger. This is a weapon that I've been messing around pretty much all week since I got it first to drop on Tuesday. So I got some things to say about it. So that's what we're doing in today's video. We're going to talk about this weapon, what is good, what is bad, what kind of makes it unique. We're going to be going over what are some of the best rolls that you can get on the weapon, and the ones that you should be looking for if you're looking for a god roll. And lastly, we're just going to have a mini review, just where we talk about anything that I want to talk about when it comes to the weapon. But before we get into any of that, let's actually talk about how to get the weapon. And the easiest way is definitely just going to be ranking up the Iron Banner and getting to rank 7. Once you reach rank 7, you'll be able to head over to Saladin, pick it up, and then you can also start focusing it at Saladin as well. It will be expensive when it comes to Glimmer, but it's only one Iron Banner engram, so you'll probably be able to focus a ton of them. There's also a chance that it drops after the match, and this can happen before you even unlock it. And it does keep happening after you unlock it as well. So that's another way of getting some extra rolls. So the Crimils Dagger is going to be a 120 RPM kinetic hand cannon, and it comes with two different origin traits. The first one is the Skulking Wolf. Whenever you're low on health and get a final blow, it will remove you from the radar, and it also will enhance the radar. So that's going to be pretty good for Crucible. Getting any kill just takes you off the radar. And the second origin trait perk is going to be the Hocket Breach Armaments. This weapon deals increased damage against vehicles and constructs, and this one's just not going to be very good, at least for Crucible, which is like the main place where you're going to be using this weapon. It will do like extra damage against barriers and like the bubble, but not enough for it to actually matter that much, especially because of the type of weapon it is. So just go with the Skulking Wolf. It's just going to be much better than Breach Armaments. So the main thing about this weapon, and the main reason that I think people are excited about this weapon, is that all its base stats essentially got a buff. Bungie looked at this weapon and how it used to be and decided that it wasn't going to be good enough, and they came back with increased stats. Now, is it something as good as the Igneous Hammer? No, not really. The Igneous is still better in every single way, but it doesn't really have to be, because it's not actually competing with the Igneous, and because of all those stat increases, that makes it a very good 120 with some pretty good stats. I think the perks are really what's going to make this weapon, and so let's move on to that. Let's take a look at the perks. We're going to be starting off first with the barrels and the mag, and then afterwards we'll take a look at the trait perks. So let's get into it. So starting off with the barrels, this is what we have. We have Arrowhead Break, Chamber Compensator, Corkscrew Rifling, Extended Barrel, Fluted Barrel, Full Bore, Hammerforged Rifling, Polygonal Rifling, and lastly the Small Bore. Now for the barrel, I wanted a little bit of stability with my range, so I decided to go with Corkscrew Rifling. This will give you stability, handling, and range, so you get all three, and this weapon can really use all three. It's got some pretty low handling, it's got some okay stability, but I could definitely use some more. And we also get +5 to range, which is also going to be pretty good for hand cannons. If you actually play on PC, where you don't really need stability as much with your hand cannons, then you could go for some of the other range increasing perks, like Full Bore if you want to use Full Send It, or maybe some Hammerforged Rifling, because it will still give you +10 range. But I would definitely recommend Corkscrew Rifling. It kind of gives you a bit of everything, especially if you play on console like me. Now for the magazine, we have Accurized Rounds, Steady Rounds, Tac Mag, Pendant Mag, Thread Magwell, Extended Mag, and lastly Alloy Magazine. But the only real choice is going to be Accurized Rounds. You get +10 range from it. Nothing else in the slot is going to be as good as Accurized Rounds, at least for Crucible. And this thing's not really going to see much gameplay in PvE. It is really just the Crucible hand cannon. So go with Accurized. And now let's actually move on to the things that are going to matter the most. Those trait perks. So let's get to perk 1. Now for the first trait perk, this is what we have. We have Enlightened Action, Sideways, Air Trigger, Strategist, Moving Target, and lastly Outlaw. And the best ones that I want to talk about are going to be Enlightened Action, Sideways, and lastly Moving Target. So let's start off with Enlightened Action. This is actually the perk that I use the most out of all the time that I was playing with this hand cannon, and it makes the hand cannon feel really good. Whenever we do some damage to the weapon, it will increase our reload speed and our handling, and that's something that the 120s desperately need. that extra handling just makes them feel so much better, and the extra reload speed is also pretty nice. But Enlightened Action's gonna make this thing feel amazing, and won't even feel like a 120 after a while. It really does make a huge difference on this weapon. Enlightened Action's really good. Now the other option is gonna be Slideways. Whenever you slide, you partially reload the magazine, and it also gives you a boost to your handling and your stability. The boost to handling is gonna be really nice, gonna make the weapon feel better. The increase to stability is also very nice for landing just consecutive shots. With the higher stability, makes landing those 3 taps a lot easier. And the last perk I kind of want to take a look at in this slot is going to be Moving Target. This will give us increased movement speed and target acquisition whenever we're aiming down sights. So this perk is basically going to make it a little easier to hit our shots with that increased aim assist, as well as being able to strafe better, meaning that it's going to be a little harder for the enemies to hit their shots. So it's definitely going to be another pretty good perk. I don't think it's actually as good as Enlightened Action or Slideways, but it's definitely still a pretty solid perk. So those are gonna be the 3 perks I would recommend on this first slot. Any of these 3 perks will definitely be pretty good on this weapon and will make it feel really nice. And now let's move on to the second trait perk. So this is what we have for the second perk. We have Kill Clip, Explosive Payload, Send Moment, Opening Shot, Adagio, and lastly Precision Instrument. And I think the best ones are gonna be Precision Instrument and Explosive Payload, and I think we should start with Explosive Payload. And the main reason that you want to use Explosive Payload is gonna be that increased flinch. That increased visual flinch is very annoying when you get hit, and that's the same reason that we're using it. It's gonna make it just a lot harder for enemies to hit you back and actually aim properly when you're shooting them in the face with Explosive Payload. So that's what Explosive Payload is gonna be good for letting you win those 1v1s through just doing a ridiculous amount of flinch. Now the other perk, Precision Instrument, is gonna make it so this weapon is more forgiving. So you definitely don't want to miss out on Precision Instrument. It's just gonna make the weapon more consistent. If you're looking for consistency with your hand cannons, you want Precision Instrument. And these 2 perks right here are actually gonna be the best ones. There's nothing else that's gonna be as good as this. I was hoping that Adagio was gonna be pretty good, and sometimes it is, but the majority of the time it actually will increase your TTK. So yeah, you heard that right. It will increase your TTK instead of lower it. So you definitely don't want that. And then Kill Clip doesn't really do anything for your TTK. It basically stays the same. So because of that, Explosive Payload, Precision Instrument are just gonna be your best bet. These are the ones that you want to go for. For the first God roll, we're gonna have Explosive Payload plus Enlightened Action. If you just want a good feeling weapon, then you gotta go for this one. This is gonna be amazing. Now the second roll is gonna be our consistency roll. We got Slideways, which is a quick way of getting handling and stability every time we slide. And then we also have Precision Instrument, which is gonna make it so we reach the optimal TTK just a little bit easier. And yeah, if you wanna use your weapon to feel as consistent as possible, then this is gonna be it. And with the 4 perks that we have, we can really just mix and match. They all kind of work very well with each other, so you can really mix and match them and always get a pretty good roll with this weapon. So those are the rolls that I think that you guys should be going for if you're looking for a God roll on this weapon for the Crucible. Now, let me know in the comments below if you guys think I missed a perk, or I didn't talk about a perk that you think is good on this weapon. Let me know that, or if you have some interesting rolls that I should have mentioned, also let me know in the comments below. Now let's talk a little about the weapon. I'm not gonna lie, at first I was not a big fan of this weapon. I picked it up, got like 1 or 2 rolls, used it for a couple games, and I was just not feeling it. It wasn't until I actually got a good roll with Slideways Precision Instrument that I really started to love this weapon. It feels really good. Once you add a bit of extra stability with Slideways, it feels really good. Then I got an Enlightened Action Precision Instrument, gave that a try, and I also enjoyed the way it felt. So I think that I was just used to some other 120 hand cannons, so I think this one will take a little bit to get used to, especially if you haven't used a 120 in a while. Like me, I didn't even notice, but I had not used a 120 in a very long time. So it took a little bit to get used to the recoil. I just kind of like the way the weapon handles. But once you get used to it, this thing's gonna feel good. Especially if you try Enlightened Action. Man, I think I think I need more Henkins with enlightened action. I think that's what I need. At least more 120s. But yeah, overall, I think it's a very good weapon. I'm glad that we have another good kinetic 120. Because, you know, anything that goes in the energy slot pretty much dies. Because nothing's ever going to be as good as Igneous. But yeah, anyways, with that, we're going to end today's video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below what god word you're going to be going for on this weapon. And also, you just kind of tell me how you're feeling about the weapon. But thank you all for stopping by. Thank you all for checking out the video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.